Hi everyone, it's Simon Keeling here, weatherweb.net. It is Sunday the 14th of July. Thanks again for watching, and the heat continues. But not only the heat, we saw a few thunderstorms during Saturday afternoon, and I think we'll be seeing a few showers and thunderstorms during this week too. This is the 5-day precipitation forecast from the GFS ensemble model, and these totals you can see down here is just the GFS trying to hint at some scattered heavy thundery showers during the next few days during the afternoons. I think they'll only be isolated, and it looks as if the highest risk of these probably is going to be Tuesday, Wednesday. The rain you can see up for northern and western Scotland is proper rain. That's Atlantic stuff coming in just as fronts brush by, but you can see how little rain generally there is. If we don't get these showers, then we're down in very low rainfall totals, and most would see no rain at all. Into the second 5 days, so from day 6 to day 10, this ends on the end of play on the 23rd. The shower risk shifts to within this zone here, so it's kind of western Scotland, northwest England, down through Wales, and also for the west of Ireland as well. Could just import the odd thunderstorm off the coasts of France that could just brush into southeast England, but it's still essentially the high pressure is still there, so many areas are dry. It's just these summer thunderstorms start coming in. So again, it's this typical British summer, isn't it? 3 fine days and a thunderstorm, although by the time this happens it'll probably be nearer 14 fine days and a thunderstorm. And then hint of a change right at the very end of this period. Look, this is more persistent rain trying to get into Scotland on a west or southwesterly wind, and also Northern Ireland too, but still not much rain. I mean, during the whole of the 10-day period, we're only looking at 10 millimetres over the western coasts and hills, and typically 5 to 10 millimetres for most. So it is a change of sorts. Little bits of rain further south too, within the 2 to 5 millimetre category here. Again, most of it showers, but it could be that right at the after about the 25th, 26th, we could just pick up a little bit of rain further south as well. So just hints there of a change coming through from the GFS ensemble. And of course, this was something we were talking about yesterday, about this change at the end of July into the early part of August. So does the MJO help at all? Well, not really. This is the MJO from the ECMWF model, valid from the 12th of July through to the 12th of August. It's the bright green line in the middle that we're interested in. You can see how that kind of hovers around this central point here, look, right the way through the period, eventually is coming into the centre here. So really telling us we've got a very weak signal coming in from the MJO, so it's not really giving us much of a steer. So I think what we've got to do is just stick with the ideas that we had yesterday of this change taking place late July into the early part of August, and just look for some backup on that over the coming days. So we haven't done this for a while, we haven't taken a look further afield, and I thought it was perhaps time we did, with the weather being relatively quiet. Let's just look at what's going on with sea ice. This is the Arctic sea ice, and the area of ocean with at least 15% covered in sea ice. And you can see how from about this point here, which was late June, look, the sea ice has fallen away quite sharply from its average, which is the dark line running down here. This is the 2012 level, which of course was the lowest. So you can see how it's taken quite a plunge during the last few weeks. Still not at its lowest point, but showing quite a marked change now away from the average, which is pretty similar to what 2012 did around the same period. So comparing with previous years, 2013 is the red line you can see there, and you can see that there were a few years that had less ice. 2010, 2007, 2012 and 2011 too all had less ice, but we're starting to get into that lower category once again. And this one's an interesting one. It compares this year's sea ice with the averages. So that line there was 1980s average, that's the 1990s average, and that's the 2000s average, and you can see how it's below each and every one. 12, 2007, 2011 all had less ice, but this is starting to get close to those years. Now in Antarctica, the reverse is true. Here we've got more ice than average, and you can see how it's consistently been above average through the last few months. So it'll be interesting to see how this develops, and if as sea ice reduces in the north, if we get a further increase across the Antarctic. And what about sea surface temperatures? Well, we've still got above normal temperatures. Look, these yellows around the coast of the UK into the Eastern Atlantic. Big area of above normal temperatures as well here across the Northern Atlantic. And also here, look, in the Central Atlantic, temperatures close to or just above normal. But this cold pool of water is still off the west coast of Africa. And of course, it's within this area. It's a hurricane breeding ground, and if you've got cold water, then you tend to have less possibility of early stage hurricanes forming before they get out into the warmer water in the Atlantic, which may well just sit on the time they've got to be able to develop. Cooler water off the western coast of South America. This is the La Nina, but it's only a very weak La Nina. It's neutral to weak, and the forecast for that looks something like this. This is from the CFS, and this is neutral conditions in here. You can see how it's in La Nina here, the black line, just weakly into La Nina. It really is quite a weak affair, and the prediction is along the ensemble line here is for us to gradually go into still neutral area, but perhaps just nipping into an El Nino during the autumn months, and then we come back into La Nina again, and the oscillation continues as we head into January of next year. And comparing this year's La Nina with recent years' La Ninas, what we've done here is this is the 2012-13. It's the black line here that you can see. So it's this one just in here compared with other events, and you can see how kind of from last year, from June, July last year, it's fallen into line with the blue line you can see tracking through here, almost followed it perfectly, and that was the La Nina of 1959-1960. So it's tracking along very similar lines to that, and of course we will have an impact from that in Europe through the autumn and into the winter. So that's something we're going to be tracking just to try and pin down the detail and give an idea as to how that may have an impact. So that's it for now. Whatever you're doing, have a great day. Thanks again for watching weatherweb.net, and remember that we're kept free of charge by the adverts that you see around the screen. By you coming back and using the site and using the adverts, that's what keeps us free of charge. So thank you for doing that. Whatever you're doing, try and stay cool and have a great day. Keep the sun shining, and bye for now.